Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio. Today I'll be talking about how to use AM Link in the actual flight. Since many of you have been asking, what's the actual use of AM Link and what kind of help it can provide us in flight, besides setting the ASC. So today we'll focus on the AM Link, how to set it in flight, and how helpful can it be for us in flight. Today we'll take the AM Link of the AM600 combo as an example. However, this combo has not been released yet, and we got it in advance. Alright, simple assembly done. We've put the motor, ESC, AM-Link, and the receiver together. After powering on, all the AM-Link lights turn on, and this allows us to check what functions it can return and what functions it can alarm us. Actually, all of it can be seen on the remote control. Now, let's enter the return interface of the remote control. The return setting of the remote control has been covered in earlier videos, so be sure to go check it out. In the return interface, we can see 6 return options. The first option is the current voltage of the BSC. We can set an alarm value here. Second is the current temperature of the ESC. We can also set alarms for maximum and minimum temperatures. The current RPM of your motor will be shown here. The first item on the right is the current consumed by the motor. And then the next item is the battery voltage, which is now down to 21 volts. And the last option is the current capacity consumption. These few options, such as the temperature of the ESC, the RPM of the propeller, could be extremely helpful for some pilots during tests. In fact, the most helpful of these 6 returns is probably the battery voltage one and the capacity consumption. These two telemetry options are in fact the most used ones because it helps us avoid forgetting to change the battery or use the wrong one when flying. And it's quite likely to cause the airplane to crash due to lack of power. It also can cause us emotional damage. Now, to avoid this from happening, let's set the battery low voltage alarm. So when the plane takes off, probably in a dozen or so seconds, we can immediately be informed that the battery voltage is insufficient. And as we hear that, we have to land immediately to figure out the reason behind that. Has the battery not been changed, or was it in storage mode for safety reasons? First, let's turn on the battery voltage report option. Okay, here we can set the upper and lower limits for the battery voltage. First, we have to set the lower limit of the battery voltage. The minimal safe voltage is 19.2 volts, so let's select 19.2 volts. For 6S battery, it would be around 3.2 volts per cell, so we generally put it at 19.2 volts. Okay, let's activate the alarm and then turn on the haptic feedback. It has several modes, so let's just choose a random one. Here's the audio alarm. Choose whether you want it to be audible or not. Okay, I'll turn on the audio alarm. When the battery voltage is below 19.2 volts, it will both vibrate and play an audio alert. Let's try it now. I'm using a step-down module to simulate the voltage drop of the battery voltage. Let's decrease the voltage of the battery now. 21 volts, 20, 19 volts. Okay, when our battery voltage is below the set voltage, the remote control will start to vibrate and play a voice alarm. So let's get it back now. After the alert, we have to land the airplane immediately to check what's causing the battery voltage to be low. The second one is the capacity feedback. What does the capacity feedback mean? When we plug the battery in the charger, it will show how many mAh has been charged. The remote control actually basically does the same thing, showing how many mAh has been drawn. Sometimes when we fly airplanes, we look at the time in the air using it as a reference to determine when we should land. I set a flight time of 5 minutes to land, and if I fly very violently during these 5 minutes, we'll probably end up having the battery at 3.6, 3.7 volts after landing. Or even lower. This time I'll fly for 5 minutes again, but I will just cruise gently. Alright, I land the aircraft, and the battery voltage is found to be at 3.8, 3.9 volts. So it looks like we're not utilizing the battery as efficiently as we could. If we have a capacity feedback alarm, we can precisely consume all the usable capacity of the battery. At this moment, it will indicate whether you need to land according to how much capacity you have consumed. For example, this time I'm flying for about 3 minutes and the capacity alarm has activated. I must have flown too violently and the battery got drained very fast. Well, now we know for sure we have to land at third minute. Alright, maybe this time I flew very gently and reached the critical capacity level only after 7 to 8 minutes. So it may take 7 to 8 minutes before the remote control will alarm me to land the airplane. For the first time when entering values, how do we enter them? Because we need to preset the capacity in advance and then let it alarm. And we can monitor the battery voltage during the flight. For example, I fly for 3 minutes, check the battery voltage. Then I fly for 4 minutes, check the battery voltage. Fly for 5 minutes, check the battery voltage. Until I think it's an ideal voltage state. For example, I would like to land at 3.75 volts. Then when we fly the battery voltage down to 3.75 volts, the remote control will alarm us and we need to land the airplane immediately. After landing, we need to check how much capacity has been consumed at this point.
So let's take this 60-inch airplane behind me as an example. When my battery voltage drops down to 23 volts or 22.5 volts, I land immediately.
The battery consumption, let's say it's consuming 3000 mAh capacity. Alright, I would set it at 3000 mAh on the remote control now and I'll start flying. That's no matter how I fly, once we draw roughly 3000 mAh, the remote control will alarm us right away. The battery voltage can be stable at 3.75 volts, which is your previous preset voltage range. Of course, there might be fluctuations, and as the battery ages, the capacity may decay. So, you have to verify it if you've been flying for a while. I need to set the minimum capacity landing alarm, but how do I know how much that is in volts? I'll describe how to set the capacity alarm. First, we set it for the first time. In normal flight, open the throttle and let the capacity be drawn from the battery. You might consume several thousand mAh, and then we notice the voltage alarm. We land and find that the value may show 2000 mAh. 3500 mAh is 22.4 volts. Let's keep that in mind. Once it reaches 3500 mAh or 22.4 volts, we need to land. Remember, 3500 mAh. We are now in the capacity alarm settings screen. And in the 10 mAh, we're going to set it to 3500 mAh. But in order to demonstrate it to you, we'll set it at 10 mAh. So it's also convenient to let you see a little more clearly. Now we set the 10 mAh alarm. First of all, we must activate the alarm function. We'll leave the haptic feedback inactive, but we must turn on the audio alert. Okay, now we set the capacity consumption of 10 mAh. The audio alarm will be played after reaching 10 mAh. Let's try. Now it's at 3 mAh. Let's go ahead and push the throttle and start flying. Okay, now the capacity consumption has reached the preset 10 mAh and the remote control has started to alarm. At this moment, we have to land the airplane as soon as possible. After the airplane has landed, we will turn off. And the current capacity consumption will be cleared automatically. The next time we power on, we will see that the current consumption has been cleared to 0. It will continue to record and alarm again at 10 mAh or preset it at 2000 or 3000 mAh as a standard. Go for record again as well as alarming. Okay, this video explains the practical application of AM Link in flight. I hope that I was able to explain it well enough. If you still have any questions, feel free to message us directly, and we will provide more tutorial videos as well as some flight instructions. Thanks a lot for supporting T-MOTOR. Happy flying!